Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Sportster.com. My name is Norman Quarrinton, and what you're about to see is a chat between myself and the one and only Mr. Kenny King. In November, Kenny will be celebrating his 20th anniversary as a professional wrestler. You've seen him in promotions like IMPACT, where he's a former X Division champion, Ring of Honor, where he's the current Ring of Honor tag team champion with Dragon Lee. He got his start on the second season of WWE's Tough Enough and made it all the way to the end. He's a really great guy. His resume speaks for itself, and I hope you enjoy this chat. Thank you for joining me. See you soon. How you doing, man? How you been?
I'm doing well. Just waiting to kind of go full time. That's
what I was going to ask. I was going to ask you if your day to day has gone back to like pre-pandemic schedule yet, or if you're still kind of in like a limbo space.
I mean, the day to day has. I still train and I go and I go about just kind of working my body, making so though it is pre-pandemic, but whereas November we usually have a few shows. We don't really have anything planned for November or October rather. So it's just it's not necessarily limbo, but it is just kind of we're just waiting to get back to normal.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for like 20 years now, basically, right?
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 20 years in November.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, congratulations, man. Yeah. Well, so do you consider yourself I asked this same question to Shane Taylor. Do you think is veteran a word that you would use to describe yourself?
Only when it comes to getting the front seat and rides or getting bought drinks after the show, things like that. But it is kind of crazy to blink and get that veteran tag, and it's a thing I tweeted about. It's like now I'm starting to realize that in the locker rooms, like I'm big bro, like I'm Unk, like I have all these different hats that I wear now, and it's just, I guess it's a testament to surviving. I mean, how many people really survive 20 years in the business? So
right.
It's something that I wear with honor, though. I do appreciate the people that are like, hey, can you watch my match? Or hey, what did you see that maybe that can improve on? So I do take that very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask that as well. Is that fulfilling to kind of impart knowledge onto younger guys?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's not something that early on in my career I would realize how important that is, but out in Vegas, I'm one of the head trainers over at FSW. So we've got a lot of there's a lot of guys who are really starting to peak and starting to kind of get starting to get a lot of fame that I've got my hands on, and it wasn't a situation that I realized how much I enjoyed doing that until I started to see these guys, shout out to Chris Bay, shout out to, Killer Cross, like guys that are carrying Cross now, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Those are guys that early on, I had a hand in just helping them just achieve their own greatness, and and it's something that I do, for a lot of lesser known guys, and it is, everybody's got to help somebody in the business in order for someone to get ahead. So it is something that I enjoy now.
Do you find yourself learning anything from those guys, from younger guys at all? Are you still learning, or?
Yeah, you have to still learn. There's a lot of, the business is evolving. The business has changed, so a lot. There are some things that I was taught that those rules don't apply anymore. So listening to these guys and the guys who are getting themselves to be popular by applying these new rules, it's kind of keeping me young, and thinking about how I approach my business.
So let's go back a little bit, because I wanted to talk about a match that for some reason when I think about your career, I always think about this particular match. I remember watching it when it happened. This was in 2013, and you beat Rob Van Dam for the X Division title. I was just curious about what was kind of, because obviously Rob Van Dam is a very legendary professional wrestler with a storied career. Did you feel going over him that night? Did you feel the sort of the moment then? Did that feel like a big deal, or was it kind of just another day at the office for yourself?
No. uh, what some people know about me, some people don't, is I was a gigantic ECW fan.
Mm,
And watching Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, that's when I would argue with my friends. No, ECW is real. Like that that WWF stuff is fake, but that with Taz and the Dudleys, this stuff is real. And as I became a pro wrestler, I studied some martial arts as I was younger, and just as I became a pro wrestler, Rob Van Dam is one of the people who I sort of patterned my style after as a hybrid martial artist, athlete, kind of high flyer. He was always one of my favorites. So, being in that position to not only beat Rob Van Dam, but beat Rob Van Dam for the X Division Championship, I'm a lifelong fan of AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels and Joe and all those guys that created that X Division. It was a twofold surreal moment for me. And it had really said to me, wow, I kind of feel like I've got something here, you know what I mean? The years that I've been doing this now, I kind of have some stamps, and I'm making this a career finally,
So that, I mean, like you were just mentioning, people that have won the lineage of the X Division title. Is it something that you can see? Like, I mean, there's a lot of talk about forbidden doors, etc. at the moment in pro wrestling. Is the X Division title something that you could see yourself trying to regain at some point in the not so distant future or anything like that? Do you have any interest in stepping through any of these forbidden doors, so to speak?
I do. I definitely feel like this is the time. It's never really been a thing in wrestling where you had so many promotions openly working with one another and trying to make, and it's all for the greater good of the pro wrestling industry. So I definitely believe in working and playing well with others. Hey, I heard you.
Yeah, cameo from my dog. We got a cameo from your cat as well. I just saw.
Oh yeah, okay. She does this on my
yeah.
So it's there's never been a better time to do it. I believe that in any situation, though. I saw Shane say in an interview, and I completely agree with it, that it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship, right? It can't just benefit one party over the other. So any relationship that we have has to leave Ring of Honor better off than we found it.
So you look at, there's guys at Impact right now and AEW right now that you look at and you're just like, I want to get in the ring with them. Do you do that?
Of course. I mean, I want to. There's the talent that both of those companies have. I feel like any interpromotional situation that we have, it goes crazy. You know what I mean? Imagine, the Briscoes against, Pentagon and Phoenix, and Lethal and Bryan Danielson. I'd love to wrestle either Kenny Omega or Brian Cage again, or I'd love to get in the ring with Eddie Edwards or Dragon Lee versus Chris Bay. Like all of these insane matches that are possible. It just has to be a situation where everybody feels like it benefits them.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of like you mentioned sort of a few guys there, and some of them have wrestled and worked together in the past, but I mean it's kind of different when I think people, no, you're cool. I think people say stuff like, oh, I want to see Dragon Lee and Bryan Danielson or something like that, but it's about, or even like Jay Lethal and Bryan Danielson. I mean, I off the top of my head, I can't remember it happening, but I'm pretty sure those guys have been in the ring together before. Right? Does that sound right?
I'm sure that Bryan and Jay have been in the ring. Early ROH before.
But not this current Jay Lethal and this current Bryan Danielson. Right. That's the difference. I think people can be like, all right, go on cagematch.com and be like, oh, actually they've shared a ring together before. But I mean, wrestlers change so much and evolve so much that I think it's important to kind of, this is why, I mean, one of the big benefits of the Forbidden Door is that we're getting to see these matchups that, for a long time were just pure fantasy, and now some of them are coming to fruition. And I think it's I think it's a good thing. And you sound like you agree. So
it's good. Whatever is good for the industry, right? I'm a firm believer in. There's a lot of things happening now, things like that, and the fact that when I broke into the business, there weren't three places in the United States that you could go to make a living in pro wrestling. It just wasn't a thing. So as long as the industry continues to thrive and everybody can continue to find a place to work and thrive, I'm happy for it.
So how much of your life, I mean, obviously it's like it's your profession, but are you still a fan? Do you still just watch wrestling just for the hell of it, just in your free time? Or is when you do it, are you always in work mode, would you say?
90% of the time, right? Unless it's a match. I mean, I watch matches and say, okay, I know I'm going to enjoy this, right? And because of the people involved and the artistry that they bring to the table, I can lose myself in it, and that's how I know that the people involved are great matches. Like I haven't watched it yet, but I'm pretty sure if I watch Omega versus Bryan, it'll be the same, on that kind of level, right? So. The curse is when you do this for a living, you can no longer watch it as a fan because you have to analyze if you want to get better, you have to analyze every aspect of it. You have to say, okay, what did they do that worked? How does this work? How does this work? But every so often, I will definitely be able to find a match that gets me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I don't know exactly what's happening, and okay, I can follow along. Okay, they're gonna do this next. So. It is possible because I feel like this era of pro wrestling is completely out of control as far as just the athleticism and storytelling and the things.
For sure. So sometimes you just kind of have to take. I mean, like I'm not a wrestler. I just write about wrestling, and even I find it hard to even I have to remind myself to take a step back and just enjoy something as a fan rather than like looking at it as I've got to analyze this and this because I've got to write about it. So I can't imagine what it's like for guys like you who are like in the ring every night. It must be difficult just not to just watch. I mean, it's the same with any kind of athlete. I think basketball players, football players, hockey players, like they can never just like watch a game without having their just analytical brain turned up to 1,000.
Breaking it down, yeah, absolutely. Like my cousin and I, we still watch football games and we analyze coverages and we say, okay, well, you see how we dropped in. It's impossible, but what it does is we also get it secondhand. So if something happens and the fans get a good reaction, we also kind of get it. Like, okay, we that was clearly the desired reaction. So
yeah,
I can enjoy when things go well.
So let's move on to Ring of Honor. At the time of recording, Ring of Honor just announced yesterday that they had properly signed Trish Adora to a contract. How big of a get is that for Ring of Honor, and what kind of message does that send about the kind of talent that Ring of Honor is able to procure?
Trish Adora is a huge get. She is a talent that since she made her way to Ring of Honor, everybody, all the male talent on the roster, all the female talent, everybody's buzzed. I mean, really, a lot of the female talent. I can say that about a lot of the female talent that's coming for the women's tournament, right? But Trish is, I've gotten to watch some of Trish's work. She caught my eye with the buzz around Larry Tubman, which I think is the most amazing name for a finisher of all. I've said to her, I'm sick to my stomach that I didn't think of it. I wish I had, but it is amazing, right? I mean, Larry Tubman is an amazing.
Yeah, that's great, actually.
So and then get a chance to watch her work, and then her becoming, the African Pan Diaspora champion, like it just the way she carried herself, and then the way she carried herself in the tournament. She's a huge get. I'm very happy for her. I'm very happy for Maria, and for the women's division in general. And I think that just says that's what we're doing, right? That's what we're doing. We're stacking the women's division to be. It's not going to be an afterthought. The women that you see wrestle in Ring of Honor are going to be just as good as the men, which is the industry standard these days. Right? There isn't a women's division in pro wrestling where you can hide just pretty girls in costumes anymore. Like all these women have to be able to go, and they can, and they do, and they show out, and they. They do incredibly dangerous things sometimes, but I mean, it's them showing that they are here, they ready to go, and the tournament has been very inspiring.
Yeah. And so your relationship with Ring of Honor goes back to, I think, like 2005 or 2006, I think, right? Maybe that right around then.
Oh 08 was my very first
Oh,
one.
okay, cool. I was close. I was
Maybe
close.
07, September 07, maybe.
So I mean, you talked about how much the business has changed. Obviously, Ring of Honor as a company has changed a lot since then, but is there anything that's the same? Is there like the core ethics of the company? Do you think, do you still see the same thing when you go into work at Ring of Honor that you saw back then, like in terms of just core, you know, vibes, I guess?
Well, yes, right. The two main things that are absolutely the same are one, the locker room is comprised of some of the best wrestlers on the planet that have some of the best resumes on the planet, and dudes that can walk around like assholes if they want to, but but
Mm-hmm.
nobody does, and everybody takes care of one another. And it was a family then with guys like Brian and Nigel and Aries and Roddy and and however many guys would come around, Morishima and all of these dudes that had all these amazing.
Who? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. And just and everybody treated each other just the right way. I can go on Claudio, Chris, I hear all that
Mm-hmm.
everybody treated each other. And if you fast forward to how it is now, right, it's literally the same way. We all take care of one another. We all do what's necessary to make sure that that everybody feels good in the locker room. And the other thing is that it's just always been a place where the wrestling's going to do the talking. You got to prove if you want to be here that you can go in the ring, and I feel like that is just that's just been the precedent that was set. Ring of Honor is always going to be the place where if you want to see where the best wrestlers are, the best group of wrestlers are, you're always going to find it at Ring of Honor.
Mm. So let's go. Let's get back to modern day roster. I interviewed Shane Taylor, as I mentioned a few weeks ago. Do you hate him as much as he hates you?
I don't have a hatred for Shane. I know Shane's upset at me, right? And what I think that a lot of people don't get, and maybe Shane don't get, is, man, I've been teaching Shane a lesson this whole time, right? I've been preparing Shane become the person that he is right now. A lot of people don't know, Shane came in with Keith Lee, and Keith Lee went on to go, rule another universe. But he left Shane in the dust, and everybody thought Shane was left for dead. But I stuck my hand out, and I pulled Shane into the rebellion because I knew exactly what we were going to be seeing, a few years later. So all of this has been to pull the best side of Shane. Now, him hit me in the head with that chair that before dishonor, that pissed me off a little bit, but turned about his face, right? But it is, but at the end of the day, Shane knows what this is, man. This is what we doing here is just a different level of street shit. And Shane knows that. He's got his squad. I got mine. I will protect mine with what I got. He's gonna take care of what he got with his. He's just taking this. He just doesn't understand it's negocio, not persano.
Yeah. So you're living in his head rent free, but not vice versa.
I mean, listen, Shane's a dangerous dude. So if you think that I'm sitting around here just not paying Shane any of mine, then that's not it. But the it's checkers, baby. It's not chess, or it's chess, not checkers, right? So the pieces that I moved around the board, I didn't anticipate not capturing those 6-man championships, but shit happens. But pieces I moved around the board is to see if Shane's gonna what you gonna do, Shane, at every turn. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
All right. So before we wrap up, I did want to ask about, obviously you kind of got your start in the wrestling business through Tough Enough. Are you still in touch with anyone from that show? Do you still talk to anyone with regularity from that show?
I mean, I wouldn't say with any regularity, but I will speak to Hawk on occasions. I speak to Jess Ward, Champa, every now and then. We've got like a Tough Enough group chat that that every now and then we get with each other. But it's, as the years have gone by, I mean, we kept in contact pretty, all of us, a good portion of us. I mean, I would still see Matt Morgan, every now and then. But as the years have gone by, it's kind of been there hasn't been too many of us that have kept in contact.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you mentioned the group, the kind of Tough Enough group chat. I mean, I wonder if you guys are just like, I mean, it must have been a bonding experience because, I mean, you guys was it the second season that you guys were on?
Mm.
By that point, it's already, I guess, like like, you know, a known entity. So I don't know if I don't know if you kind of like reminisce about that period of your career and just think about how crazy that was, or whether it was just kind of, you know, just something that you did, you know.
Well, no, I mean it was the start, right? It was the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning. I didn't. I remember watching Tough Enough. I watched wrestling since I was a kid. I can remember being in my dorm room, watching people on Tough Enough, and if you're watching dudes that can barely jump rope or jump over bags, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. Like these guys suck, and and it's all. You think it's just all talk until you open up a newspaper and you see an ad that says that you think you're tough enough, sign up now. So,
Mm.
um, and but getting on Tough Enough, doing that, it is something that only a few of us understand. And it's funny. I was talking to Chelsea Green, somebody who works with us now, and I didn't realize that she was on the Steve Austin's Tough Enough, which one ever was. And but it's the same thing. We're talking about that. There's only a certain group of people, whether it however many, 12 by however many seasons,
Mm-hmm.
can really understand what that's like, what you go through, how difficult, the highs and the lows, and even though each season's a little bit different, the highs and the lows are still some of the same ones. I mean, they got their phone, they got to keep their phone.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, in 2001, I had a Nokia that you could play Snake on, so it was different.
Yeah.
But they got to keep their phone. They got to do a whole bunch of other different things that I didn't recognize from my Tough Enough days.
When you kept progressing onto the show, because you made it to like the very last episode, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I haven't watched it since it happened, but you like made it right to the very end. Did you have to keep just pinching yourself every time you made it another step and another step, or were you kind of confident in your own abilities that you knew you were going to get there?
I honestly felt like from the very beginning, I just picked it up. I mean,
Mm.
I felt like from throwing it in. I mean, the physicality. There's certain technical things about the footwork and you just have to develop a body callus at first of just being thrown around so much and so much. But everything else, man, I just felt like you just threw me in the water and I picked it up immediately. So the only issue that I felt like I ever had was, I was a little undersized at that point. From a 6'10" Matt Morgan and six Jake. The other guy Jake was like 6'4.5", 6'5".
Mm.
So I was slightly undersized from some of the front runners, but anytime I was in the ring, I ran circles around everybody and so I kind of just was like, damn, okay. As every week kept going by, it was just a little bit more validation that okay, I'm in the right place, doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting to see your career, how your career's developed since then. And you've come, I mean, you were great then, and you've come a very, very long way. And I'm excited to see. I mean, I know your career is far from over, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
You got it, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy, mate. Thank you.